Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day. To start things off, in the edition of news that's everywhere news, it says Bitcoin strikes above 10,200 US dollars. The gaining spree may sustain for some more days. This one says $10,000 Bitcoin prompts influencers to call a bull market. For those of you who have not realized, I mean, everyone should have at this point, the prices of the cryptocurrency market have been going up over the last couple of weeks, and it's been a very jolly ride, if you will. We are now caught between, it's feeling very 2019-y again because everyone seems to be taking a side. Says right here, for those of you not looking at the screen, it says 5 signs that Ethereum is having its moment right now. It says Ether has more than doubled in value so far this year, with strong fundamentals and increasing numbers of projects being built on the network. Here are 5 signs from the week that Ethereum's time may have finally come. This is even crazier. It says accredited investors are currently paying a 220% premium to buy Ether through Grayscale's Ethereum Trust. The price of a single share in the Ethereum Trust is currently trading at $81.50, even though one share represents Ether worth just $25.46. Yesterday, the premium was even higher at 312% just to buy Ether. The Grayscale Ethereum Trust has $154 million in assets under management and is aimed at institutional investors who are willing to pay a premium to avoid investing directly in cryptocurrency with its attendant custody and regulatory issues. Imagine being willing to pay 220% as a premium as opposed to just buying the actual cryptocurrency directly. Some retail investors are also paying over the odds. Coinbase, a major fiat gateway used by such retail investors, has seen Ether trading at a $1 to a $1.50 premium over non-fiat exchanges recently, which may indicate additional fiat coming into the market. Ethereum is very hot right now. We've had our share of moments in 2018 and 2019 where it looked like Ethereum might not be doing that hot, that great, that well, that amazing, but it's back. And I don't even just mean price-wise. I mean as far as we have the framework for Ethereum 2.0. We have had indications that by July, which we went over last week, when Vitalik Buterin and a whole bunch of other people were on stage, that by July we will have Ethereum 2.0. Thousands of transactions per second as opposed to the 15 that we have right now. The other decentralized finance projects that are being built on top of it, JP Morgan Chase using Ethereum, and all the other companies. I think a lot of times, often, people forget that there are hundreds of other companies who have also said that they are going to be using Ethereum. But there just happens to always be like one who ends up making the news when it spreads around and everyone sees that the news is actually happening. And that's when people kind of lose their minds, not realizing that there are hundreds of companies who have already said that they're going to be using Ethereum. The entire point being, Ethereum looks poised to continue to do well, whether we have a pullback or not. I can only imagine all the other stuff that's being worked up behind the scenes, especially with the, what's it called? It's not Plasma. But hey, here we go. The people from Plasma changed their name to Optimism, right? And they also have some type of a locking up Ether mechanism. So just assume that there will probably not be a lot of Ether floating around the ecosystem by next year. But yeah, that's the Bitcoin is going to do well news. Ethereum, I mean, this stuff is all over the place. No matter where you look, it just is this kind of same, like, not mimic of news, if you will, but it's always like a everyone's feeling very bullish at the same time. And this is where I mentioned a bit earlier that we're definitely seeing, like, and I don't want to call it a rift, but it's more like I think people were getting bored of making too much money. It says, after failing to break $10,500, here's why a Bitcoin correction may be imminent. I'm seeing a lot of articles floating around talking about that Bitcoin falling I say these moves aren't organic. Other people disagree with me in the comment section and scream at me for hours, instead of realizing that normally when we do have fluctuations in Bitcoin and other markets or whatever, it's typically like it's just a normal shake up and down, over and over, or we go down this way. It's very rare that we have shakeups going up and then we have a complete fall straight down. Very, very rare. And we always end up getting news that there was 1, 2, or 3 traders, sellers somewhere who sold off $145 million. It was always a huge movement. We don't see them often. This is why I don't call them organic, because it's simply other people trying to sell to lower the price that they can buy on another platform. So with that being said, as Bitcoin failed, air quotes, to break 10,500, a lot of people are saying that we could once again break below 10,000. And if we do break below 10,000, I think 9,200 is the number to kind of look for. And if we fall below 9,200, then we could be heading to 6,500. I'm not sure. I think people just have often a negative outlook on life themselves. And this is why I think that they think that if something looks potentially negative, that things should just completely fall apart. Never forget, by the time we were around the $7,200 Bitcoin, people were saying it would be impossible for Bitcoin to hit $10,000 this year. By the time we hit $10,000, people were completely silent. Didn't really say anything. But the moment a move down ends up happening, everyone's like, oh gosh, this is it. The market's going to completely collapse again. I saw something else where they were talking about that Bitcoin was showing overbought conditions. And it's like, from when? They said that Bitcoin going from, I think, 9,800 to, I think, 10,400 was completely overbought, and that people should be looking for a 30 to 40% correction. And I'm like, what planet do you people live on that you think that everyone else is going to be completely negative on the entirety of the market just because you said so? Anyway, these articles are starting to pop up once again. Like I said, I think people thrive on negativity. And I think that people love to be able to say, especially all those people, but it's the same exact thing in the traditional stock market. People love to be able to say, the stock market is going to crash. The stock market is definitely going to crash. The stock market is going to crash. Stock market is going to crash. And then when we do have a stock market crash, 7, 8 years later, they go, see, told you so. It was definitely going to happen. And it's like, yeah, but you've been saying the same things for 7, 8 years. Eventually, at some point, Bitcoin's price is going to fall back down. And then you can have your moment in the sun. And then when Bitcoin's price starts going back up, they're completely silent because all their predictions just seemingly don't come true anymore. Anyway, right, that's the news that's everywhere price news for today. In our second edition of News That's Everywhere News, and you'll see why it's kind of weird, where the words, there we go, a passionate 2-minute speech delivered by Godfrey Bloom, a member of the European Parliament from 2004 to 2014, is spreading through crypto Twitter like wildfire. Why is it weird, you ask? It's because the speech is from 2013. Who knows how this got reignited? During the presentation, Bloom declares that all banks are broke. At that time, on May 21st, 2013, Bitcoin was trading at $122 and remained a fringe asset among techies and cypherpunks. It would take the remainder of the decade to transform Bitcoin, now trading above $10,000 into the best performing asset over the last 10 years, attracting legacy giants like Fidelity and Intercontinental Exchange, or ICE, that are putting their full weight behind blockchain-based infrastructure. During that same period, numerous banks, including Deutsche Bank and Danske Bank, have been embroiled in multi-billion-dollar money laundering scandals, and consumer fraud. Wells Fargo, after the collapse of a scheme to create bogus customer accounts, is now restructuring its business. Why don't they get in trouble for this stuff? There was an article, multiple articles actually. There was one a couple of days ago that someone, what was he was using? Oh gosh, what was it? The point being, I think he had laundered. My fingers are doing air quotes. I think $100,000 or $200,000 in Bitcoin through like a coin mixer website, and now he's facing like 5, 10, 15 years in jail. And it's like, but we know for a fact that banks are laundering money. The things that they tell us not to do, we know that they're doing it. And normal people get in trouble. Like, imagine if banks get a slap on the wrist for having laundered that much money, logically, if you want to follow the law, the person who is laundering 100,000 or 200,000 should probably get a piece of bubble gum. There's no real content. Can you imagine creating fake user accounts on a website that you just created and then like not getting in trouble for it? Is now restructuring its business and investing in crypto innovation, of course, because they see where the money is. Negative interest rates, which is, my goodness, quantitative easing, ballooning deficits, and multi-trillion-dollar government budget proposals remain the cornerstones of monetary policy against deflationary fiat currencies. I suppose that's supposed to be inflationary. Anyway, the point being, this guy, and why it's making the rounds on Twitter, he said, all the banks are broke. Bank Santander, Deutsche Bank, the Royal Bank of Scotland, they're all broke. And why are they broke? It isn't an act of God. It isn't some sort of a tsunami. They're broke because we have a system called fractional reserve banking, which means that banks can lend money that they don't actually have. It's a criminal scandal, and it's been going on for far too long. To answer that problem, you have moral hazard, a very significant moral hazard from the political sphere. Most of the problems start in politics and central banks, which are part of the same political system. We have counterfeiting, sometimes called quantitative easing, but counterfeiting by any other name, the artificial printing of money, which if any ordinary person did, they'd go to prison for a very long time. And yet governments and central banks do it all the time. This is why it was fascinating last year when we had news that the Fed in the States was printing I think it was, it was over $1 billion. Was it $1 trillion? Was it 600 billion? It was a lot of money. I can't remember the exact numbers or if there was a B. It definitely wasn't millions. It was definitely in the billions that they were pumping into the actual securities market, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, to be able to keep them afloat. Can you imagine if you and your friends got a printing machine and started printing money from your country and were like, no, I'm doing it because we're broke. My family doesn't have any money. I'm trying to make sure we can eat. You'd be thrown in jail immediately. So, to conclude, the news that's everywhere news. Yeah, all the banks are broke. I think we all knew this, but I think a lot of the public does not know this. Especially, banks can just create money whenever they want. And this is a real problem because the money is not based off of anything. And then the public trust that people have when they're spreading this money around is just based off of the idea that banks and governments told them, yeah, it's worth something. So, yeah, that's the Twitter everywhere news for today. I'm sure a lot of you see the title, and I made it that way because I knew that people would click on it, not to clickbait you, but it's more of a this has to be said, and I'm just shocked that this still goes on. Like it's almost unreal at this point. It says YouTube has become infested with Ethereum, Bitcoin, Bcash, and XRP scams, whereby endless fake live streams of notable individuals pretend they are giving away Ether, Bitcoin, Bcash, or even XRP. Elon Musk is apparently giving away a customized Tesla 3 model, delivery included. To claim it, you have to DM on Twitter the scammer if you send them 5 Bitcoin or 100 Ether. Here's a little video right there. It said 19,750 people were watching an Elon Musk Tesla Bitcoin and Ethereum giveaway. Elon Musk is being watched by close to 20,000 people in this fake live stream where the video itself is real, but it's an old interview and not a live stream. As on Twitter scams, here too they pretend that Elon Musk himself, being able to tell the fake except for all those hashtags. Yeah, all hashtags right there. The site sends you to what looks like a Medium post, but it's actually a site, and then off to a fairly cool page where they reveal the address. Here's it right here. To verify your address, just send 1 to 100 Ether to the address below, and you will get 2 to 200 Ether 2 times back. I mentioned this before in 2018 and 2019, and I don't know how these are still a thing. But pretty much the entire point of these videos is they tell you, if you send me something, I'll send you back twice as much. The address in this case does not show many deposits, only around $500. But there's one for Vitalik Buterin, the Ethereum co-founder, and that has close to $17,000 in Ether. For Buterin, they use the Ethereum Foundation and their version of the ETH logo, making it all seem official and legitimate. There are countless of such giveaways, with some of our scrolling not stopping until we see who wrote this article. For those, I mean, if you're driving or something, don't look at the screen, but it's pretty much countless videos. There's even one with Roger Ver, 50,000 Bcash giveaway. I don't know how these are 10,000, 19,000 watching, 5,900 watching, 10,000 watching, 3,900, 2,000 watching. Right. Stay away from these. Have you ever been in a situation in your life where someone gave you something for free? It has never happened. And if they did, it was part of a promotion for something else to get you into a store or to get you to buy something else or to get you to try it, to try and reel you in. There is no one on this planet, unless they are a saint, who is going to give you back 10 Ether if you give them one. It's just not going to be a thing. That's not how the world works. So sorry to disappoint anyone who clicked on this video for a free crypto giveaway. It's more of a, if you clicked on this video for a free crypto giveaway, it might be time to reassess life. It might be time to learn how to actually invest and realize that there is nothing given away for free. I've seen, I remember before, these used to be, I'm sure they're even worse now. I watched one of them one time. I had it sitting there. And you can see the comments like flying in, and people are, there are tons of people who are like, hey, I'm going to send in 3. Has anyone sent this in before? And of course, there are other people like, yeah, of course, I sent mine and I got my so-and-so back. People send in like 5, 10, 15 Ether at a time. And about a good 8 minutes later, you see the same commenter and they go, hey, I sent in my 10 Ether. When am I going to get it? And they're like, soon, yo, definitely get it. And then some other woman's photo pops up and she's like, oh my gosh, they just sent me 100 Ether. And everyone's like, holy crap, that's crazy. And they start sending it in, but then you start seeing eventually that people start complaining, hey, where's the money that I sent you? And then the live stream ends. And a couple days later, it pops up again under another name. And it's like, why? What makes you think that someone would send you tying directly? I mean directly into this. Facebook's Libra digital currency is not going anywhere anytime soon. Even though most people are aware of this, the Up Libra scam is trying to make the rounds once again. No one can obtain Facebook's Libra at this time. Given the current regulatory pressure, it seems unlikely that anyone will for the foreseeable future. It would also appear that the overall interest in the project has waned significantly. I think that's not important. Despite the unavailability of the token, several scam sites have popped up. They all claim to give users early access to Libra, despite the currency not even existing. Up Libra is a great example of such a shady website. It aims to position itself as an over-the-counter trading system for Facebook's digital currency, even though no supply exists. Most people won't fall for these tricks, but free money often attracts a lot of interest. Users will need to sign up for the platform to gain access to the alleged airdrop. Pretty much you are giving your personal information to a website, and they tell you that they will give you Libra. Not realizing that not only does Libra not exist, there's no Libra wallet. Where are they sending the Libra to? How are you going to get it? And even more so, and this is what I think separates the... I'm going to be nice. This is what I think makes a person who actually does their own research. There were a number of people when Libra was first announced, and I made a couple of videos on it, because it lit the cryptocurrency market afire. Everyone was losing their mind over what could this possibly be. And tons of people kept on mentioning that they wanted to invest in Libra, and I kept on saying it's a stable coin. That's like investing in the US dollar. Just go buy some dollars. Put it under your mattress. Same exact thing. And then I started seeing people talking about that they wanted to invest in Libra because they thought it would be a good hedge against XRP. And I'm like, no, you're not understanding. Libra is a stable coin. So I think that still hasn't made the rounds, and I think a lot of people are going to be very disappointed when Libra actually is released, because I think a lot of the hype that normal people have for Libra is that they assume it's going to be another Bitcoin. But it's another Bitcoin that's going to be backed by a major multi-billion-dollar corporation, and therefore the price has to increase. People are fascinating, man. It's just, this is why I said it's about people doing their own research. It's like if you knew what a stable coin was, you'd be like, oh, okay, I don't need Libra, especially not a hedge against other. The point is, these things are everywhere. And this is, once again, a direct mimic of 2017. It's a bit too eerie that everything keeps happening the same exact way. That I also have to mention, hey, don't fall for that scam. It's a scam, but it's going to continue happening. I assume, this is my assumption, by December, if we have had a major cryptocurrency market boom, explosion, prices going crazy everywhere, we will have had at least 5 to 10 different scammy coins all over the market. By December, I assume we will have had a bust in one of these that will have been the most popular, and that will be the new BitConnect for 2020. I can see it happening. I know it's going to happen. We're going to have a situation, bless those people, where they're sitting in their cars and they're crying once again, and they're talking about they lost $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. And the weirdest part for me always is, imagine all those people who had put all that money into BitConnect and all these other scams if they had just invested that money into Bitcoin or even XRP or even Ether, even Litecoin. I have so much more to say on the topic. It's just always, I almost said take care of yourself. I guess I'd also, please just read, just learn wherever you can. We all have smartphones. We all have tablets. We have the information of the entire world in the palm of our hand, and people don't use it. They watch cat videos and all this other stuff. There's so much more to do. There's so much more to life. Just learn. Don't fall for the fact that you would have 20,000 people watching that. Like, on what planet would that make any sense? Anyway, don't fall for scams. If it seems scammy, it probably is. Learn about cryptocurrencies, like decentralized ones, which is also going to be a big topic in the next couple of seconds. And yeah, let's move on. In the next edition of news that's everywhere, and I mean it permeates the entirety of the internet, and no, that sounds really weird if I said that out loud. The point is, this news was completely everywhere. The IOTA team has halted the coordinator and are currently investigating reports of a possible vulnerability in its Trinity wallet. The team has recommended that nobody open Trinity until further notice while they investigate the incident. IOTA, a blockchain project aimed at solving integration, almost said integration. At solving integration with the Internet of Things, or IoT, has been either attacked or a vulnerability has been exploited in the Trinity wallet app. The foundation has recommended that users do not open Trinity until they have found the cause of the exploit. Trinity is a wallet that's available for mobile, Windows, and Mac OS, so a wide variety of users could potentially be affected. However, early reports have only tallied 10 victims. Half of the reported victims are in communication with the IOTA team. Part of the problem is that anywhere between $300,000 and $1.2 million worth of IOTA were actually stolen through this situation. Let me see if I can find it. Right. So the reason why this is making news, I mean, for a couple of reasons. One, IOTA was hacked. Two, the IOTA Foundation actually shut down the network. They stopped all the validations from happening on the network until they could figure out exactly what was going on. Now, if that didn't ring any bells in your ear, then once again, it's time to start doing more research. As a decentralized anything, you should not be able to ever turn off your network or part of your network or stop the validation of transactions. So, for those of you who didn't get that, this one's very sensational. Breaking news: IOTA network has been hacked and funds stolen again. Yeah, they shut down their own network, saying that they did it to make sure that no other hacks had happened. If we had any news that there had been a hack of XRP and Ripple had shut down their network or even stopped validations on the network, I think gigantic lava monsters would have popped up from under the Earth's crust and would have destroyed the planet. People would have lost their minds. However, it doesn't seem to affect other projects when people are able to turn off their entire network. The IOTA network that validates all transactions, they shut off the coordinator, effectively sealing off trading indefinitely. So, just gonna leave that right there. IOTA has been hacked. As far as we know, this is the news that we have at the current moment. Anywhere from 300,000, this one says $1.6 million worth of IOTA was stolen. It says it's only 10 people who have come forward, but which may not seem like tens of thousands of people being hacked, but if you were one of those 10 people and you had lost 100,000 in IOTA, you would probably be pretty upset. And IOTA shut down their own website for a decentralized. I was going to say something, but I won't. I think that people don't actually care about decentralization. And that's something that makes me worried about the future of crypto. And it goes as far as people looking or wanting to invest in Libra, realizing that it's controlled by one of the most evil entities that we've ever had on this planet. People not being upset when companies burn 70% of their tokens in an effort to move the price up, and the company claims that they are decentralized. Pausing your own network. There's just a lot of stuff happening behind this. And whenever we get news like this, it only cements my idea that Bitcoin is the actual way to go. And I don't mean because I'm a Bitcoin maximalist or because I'm a Bitcoin so-and-so. It's more of a, you don't hear stuff like this happening on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's network hasn't been hacked. Crypto exchanges have been hacked and they've taken Bitcoin. Bitcoin's network doesn't have a point where Blockstream, Coinbase, Kraken, Binance can simply shut off validations on the Bitcoin network, maybe on their own network. Because in the future, we are, and I know this doesn't matter to people, but I promise to you it will matter in 10 years when your money is affected. We're going to enter a world, we are already entering a world where governments already don't want us to use these things, and they're going to try and find a way to propaganda you, I promise, into not using them in some sort of way while they collect them and buy them, and they end up having a new version of a reserve currency on the planet. People keep thinking that things don't affect them, and I guess I was talking about that in the other video as well. I know that the name of the game is just money. I get that part, but I think people don't realize when you're investing in a network where the founder tells you that he knows who's pumping the price of the coin, who also just recently said in court that he refuses to give the information to the judge because now the bonded courier is his client, and it's client lawyer confidentiality or some kind of nonsense like that. There aren't many truly decentralized cryptocurrency projects. And I think that this is going to, is scathe the right word? I think people are going to be affected very heavily in the future when they realize these things. Try to always, and last thought, even if you don't like Bitcoin, I think it is important to at least own some. That is not financial advice. That is life advice. I noticed a lot of people telling me in the last couple of videos that they don't own Bitcoin because they can't own an entire Bitcoin. They don't feel that it's necessary. They own Bcash or BSV, which is I'm not here to be your life coach. That's an entirely different discussion entirely. But yeah, I don't think people get it. You should never, in a decentralized world, be able to shut down your network. That's stuff that governments do. That's stuff that's going to happen in the year 2035 when there's a stock market crash and governments are halting accounts to stop people from being able to take their money out of those accounts. Anyway, right. That's the IOTA news for today. And I know that it won't have any effect on the actual market either. Not that there was a hack on the actual network or that the people from IOTA were able to switch their cryptocurrency off. Next up, last Saturday, François Villeroy de Gallo, governor of the Bank of France, clarified his stance on crypto assets, joining the growing number of policymakers who believe that cryptocurrencies should only be issued by central banks. Although Villeroy acknowledges the potential utility of cryptocurrencies in cash transactions, he does not believe that private entities should be able or should be at the helm. He said, "Currency cannot be private. Money is a public good of sovereignty." Villeroy further clarified his opinion in an interview with French news outlet France Entier? I've never heard of that in my life. Noting that the cash usage has declined in many European nations and that digital alternatives could be a desirable alternative, okay, particularly in Northern Europe. Then he talks about the Netherlands and Sweden barely using any type of cash anymore. Without reading much further. Doesn't make a lot of sense. We are seeing I don't know what it is. These people don't like crypto. They're never going to like crypto. And it's not even that Bitcoin isn't private. There's no private entity who owns Bitcoin. So yeah. And money also isn't really a public good because it's owned and controlled by a government. It's distributed to the public to be able to use, but it's still a representation of debt. So, yeah. And to finish things off, the world's largest smartphone vendor, electronics giant Samsung, has confirmed that support for cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin and Ethereum, is coming to its new line of smartphones. On its web portal, describing the features of the Galaxy S20, Samsung says new generations of phones will include the company's proprietary app that allows users to store private keys for Bitcoin, Ether, and ERC20 tokens. They say, "We created a secure processor dedicated to protecting your PIN, password, pattern, and blockchain private key. Combined with the Knox platform, security is infused into every part of your phone, from hardware to software, so private data stays private." Samsung first released blockchain key store in early 2019, effectively turning a Samsung smartphone into a cryptocurrency hardware wallet. The crypto app is currently available to Samsung users in the US, Canada, South Korea, the United Kingdom, Germany, Switzerland, Spain, Portugal, Sweden, Austria, Finland, Denmark, Norway, and Iceland. So the US, Canada, and pretty much just Europe and South Korea. Anyway, if you were looking for a new Samsung phone, here is your chance. You can now store your, I would totally run a node on my phone. There's not a chance on this green earth that I am putting my, you know how many phones get lost on a daily basis? Can you imagine having your Bitcoin or Ether on a phone? I'm sure they have backups. I hope they have backups. I would cry. I don't want to. Nope. I don't want to be that pizza guy. Can you imagine if you, even if you're like, you know what, I'll have a Bitcoin on my phone, just to, you know, for safekeepings. And then in so and so years, Bitcoin's $1 million, and you're sitting there crying because you had $1 million on the phone that you lost in a cafe. I almost said something else. Yeah. Woo. Bitcoin and Ether. Samsung has a lot of phones. They release like 35 phones a year, and I wish that was a fake number. I just watched something the other day. They were talking about all the new Samsung phones that were coming out. It was at least 18 this month. It just doesn't. Yeah, Bitcoin and Ether on Samsung. Woo. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Chongololo. Nostromo, Mr. Pickles, John Sarson, The Animal Reader, Bibliophobia, Barebones Mining, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Mohamed Maroni, Master Ventures in Thailand, Brady Niels, Jared Schneider, Wise Knight Owl 242 to the World, Crypto Joe, Bankroll Network, Adobo, May Louise, Crypto Artist, Coldly 3D, Nicholas from Earth, One Piece, One Love, Damien, Setsuna, Nick Kanaya, Richie Richard III, Vlad the Impaler, Crypto Biz, Shipmate, Paxis, Nick Mangialavori, Anthony Charles, Jim Garner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller, Hitch Test Every Day, and Kyle Skips Leg Day, Yes to Crypto, Bodie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Arfmedic17, Bake Me a Cake, Tigara Machonisa, and On Crypto with Lionel. Thank you all very, very much. Give me half a second. I did pretty well. Just had a sip of tea. My cold is just about almost gone. I'm surprised that I made it through the entire video without like completely going insane. At the moment, crypto market's in green. How long it will stay in green is kind of anyone's guess. During the recent bucking of prices from Bitcoin, which caused the rest of the crypto follow this. Look at this. Same movement. Same. They all have the same exact movement. Wow. A lot of coins managed to stay away from the complete collapse because Bitcoin goes down by 2% and the rest of the market falls by 18%. Ethereum is still up by 2.87%. XRP, I believe, was 33 cents last night, I believe. Analysts, of course, are now saying that it's aiming for 40 cents, which seems entirely believable as, you know, people want prices to go up. Litecoin is up. EOS is up. Tezos is just Tezosing. I'm not expecting that to be in the red anytime soon. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. I'd expected further losses, but IOTA is still up by 1.2%. Yeah, nothing too extreme. Looks like everything is trying to go up as Bitcoin is showing green at the moment. Right. I think I've done more than enough talking for today. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. You all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it's absolutely fantastic. Is it a Friday? Yeah, happy Friday. And for those of you who care, happy Valentine's Day. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. I'm going to relax for a bit. And I mean, should anything crazy happen in the cryptocurrency market, I will be back with news. But until then, thank you all once again for watching and listening. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.